Hello my friends, I'm Larsen and I'm the IRC Tire Guy. Today we are continuing with our viewer submissions. We've had some great entries. This has been a lot of fun. I say we jump right into it with episode number 5, starting out with an entry from Jonas Spring, maybe? I don't know. Last names are tough. This is a double blip on a KTM. Here we go. Woo! Oh boy, let's watch that one more time. Yeah. Wow, okay, so right off the bat, I'd say about half the throttle. You can use about half the throttle on both of those. And what happened there is you're using a lot of power. The more power you use, the more precise you need to be with that clutch control. The more you use, the harder it is to drop it back down into the bottom to hold traction over the top, right? So a couple things happened. A lot of this has to do with the amount of power that you're using in that crash. But that being said, just watching the first log here, it looks like you're lifting your front tire late. So I want you guys to see where his front tire goes into the air to hit the obstacle, where he's lifting, initiating that lift of the front tire. Notice he's lifting, I mean, right here, his front tire's still on the ground and it's less than a foot away from the obstacle. Now, this obstacle, this is like a 2-foot log. So I would say lifting it at least 2 feet or more before would help you. Now, because you lifted so late, you almost drove it into the log too low. And it worked out okay on this one, but the next one you almost did the exact same thing. So let's talk about where I would lift it from. Starting from the beginning, you can even see there's a little bit of a dip from where people are lifting their front tire that's digging that kind of a hole. When I see that, I use that, essentially that little bit of a hole to assist my front tire into the air. So you can see here, he goes to compress when it's actually on the back side and he loses a little bit of that compression. That makes it so his front tire drives into the bottom of the log. Also, he's lifting late. The front tire drives into the bottom of the log, gets a lot of front suspension compression. It wasn't too bad. You got your weight forward, you release the clutch solid. Now watch the second log. Same exact thing. You lifted a foot or two too late. The earlier you lift your front tire, the more time you have to load the engine, the more time you have to place your front tire, the more time you have to put your body in the right position to be able to counter the outside force. So the earlier you can get the lift, the better position it puts you in to make the correct movement for what's needed, right? So you lifted late here, and this second one, you're on the pipe big time. Now, because you lifted late, the front tire drives, again, so hard into the obstacle, and because it drives so hard, look how deep your suspension is into the stroke. It knifes your front tire to the left. You get your weight forward, but man, now we're heavy on the throttle. That knife made it so you really released the clutch completely, and now the bike flies out from under you, and we kind of fall off the side there. Looks like you landed on your feet. Pretty solid. I would say use about half the throttle. Something I would practice is my clutch up 1,000 times. Make sure that you can get a consistent lift every single time. And by consistent, I mean it's the same height, it's the same movement, it feels the same, it even sounds the same. Learning how consistency with your front tire lift is such a key piece to your riding approach. It's not just for obstacles, it's for overall control in the machine. Lifting it a little earlier would assist you. That way it wouldn't hit the log so hard and kind of unsettle you. And like I said, about a quarter of the throttle that you're using. That way it doesn't bite you, right? You're so high in the power, if you happen to slip the clutch in the wrong way, the bike doesn't go flying out from under you. The less throttle you use, the safer you're going to be, right? Let's move on. Good entry, man. Just get that clutch up 100% dialed in. Nice job, Jonas. Next, we've got Tristan Hawkins. He's looking like he's in Arizona. I'm guessing this is Arizona. A lot of riders are from AZ, and I see the terrain, and I'm like, oh, this looks like AZ. A little bit of a slab, kind of loose rock hill climb. Here we go. Coming in, sandy road here. Yeah. Oh.
Oh, come on, stay there, stay there, stay there.
Dude, gnarly. Look at how it's just hanging there. Good camera work by the camera guy. Zoom in. And it's steep too. Look at him climb. Oh, and the bike's coming. Good save.
Good save, buddy.
Dude, yeah, exactly. Good save, buddy. Tristan, awesome. So, a couple things about this. First off, you have all the run-in in the world, and I want you to listen to the bike. Listen to the entry. Bottom of the power. Bottom of the power the whole entire time. You have all that run-in. I mean, more momentum because you have all that run-in. The faster you go, the easier that's going to be. That being said, you're in the bottom of the power the whole entire time. Even on a rock slab like this, I would load the engine, load the flywheel beforehand. I want you to listen to where I would load it. Here we go. We come in right here. Reel! And then again, reel! It kind of has that double kind of roller step, a little bit of a steep wall that kind of flattens out, and then another steep wall. Each time it flattens out, that's where we need that load of power. I did a video on loading the flywheel, and that is something that I would practice over and over and over. Practice a safe wall, learn how to get the power up, load the engine, and learn how to actuate the control of the output with the clutch. Getting the power up is going to give you that ability to find momentum at a moment's notice. And again, you kind of have this double climb. When you hit that flat spot, we need to get the bike back up into the power so we have that propulsion up and over. That's a gnarly, that's a gnarly section. Don't get me wrong. This is scary, high risk, good bail, good save of the bike. Solid, more power coming in. Learning how to load the flywheel is such a key piece to your approach. Check out that loading the flywheel video. Practice those techniques. I can guarantee it will help you in these situations. And that's a scary one, man. Super gnarly. You can tell it's steep. Look at him slide back down after he tossed his bike. It's amazing his bike stayed there. And then he hustles up to the top and the bike's like creeping. He gets there and saves it right when he's there. Incredible. Really cool. A+ on the bail, A+ on saving the bike. Make sure you learn to load that engine. One more time, let's listen. Lugging the bike, you're gonna track, but it's so steep you can't get your weight in front of the outside force and it throws you off the back. Loading the engine allows you to create quick momentum and stay in front of the force. Good entry, man. Good save. That's a great video. Nicely done. Let's move on. We've got a entry from, where are we at here? All right, we've got an entry from Mark Allen. This is a KLX Unstuck. KLX 230. I did a couple videos on a KLX 230. Completely capable bike. Super cool. Fun, almost cross trainer. I thought it was a great bike. Here we go. Unstuck. Nice. He threw in quite a few entries here, so not bad. Not bad on that first one. Let's watch it. A new one here. Nice. Perfect clutch up, getting that front tire onto the obstacle. I love seeing that. We'll talk about it. Good setup. Slipping. Yeah, really good. Let's watch one more. He's sending a bunch, but let's watch one more. Same thing. Nice delivery of power to get that front tire onto the log. That's an underrated technique right there. Slipping, hips back. Good drive. Pretty dang solid. All right, let's talk about it. So, Mark, really good job, man. Right off the bat, first, let's talk about that little clutch up. He's using that quick delivery of power, suspension compression to get the front tire onto the obstacle. This is such an underrated technique, and because I teach the Unstuck, I see so many riders struggle to just put their front tire in the right place. A lot of guys will run their front tire into it. If you run your front tire into it and try to lug the bike up, usually the rear tire spins. A lot of guys will put their front tire all the way up against it and then try to lift, which also creates, if the front tire is pushed up against the log, that basically unweights or de-weights the rear tire and makes the rear tire spin. He's got his front tire maybe a foot or two away from the log. He drives his weight forward. Listen, he loads the bike when his weight is forward, chops the throttle when the weight is back. That is so underrated, and he's nailing it. One more time. See that? Throttle on when he's forward, throttle off when he's back to get the front tire up onto the obstacle. Beautiful. From here, sounds like he's slipping. I can't tell if he's using rear brake here. Personally, I prefer to use front. I'm using throttle and front brake at the same time. Holding the bike in one position on a log is an underrated technique that seems really simple, but I see a lot of guys struggle with it. He's slipping into the obstacle. The next piece of this, I love where Mark is starting. I see so many riders start in like the middle of their bike when they're doing this Unstuck technique. He's starting with his foot. I mean, literally his foot is a foot behind the rear tire. Hips as far back as he can. The further back you are, the more weight you can drive forward, the more input you have. So starting back like that, key piece. Now, every time on all three of these, good drive, jumping off the ground, getting a heavy drive forward, good timing with the throttle and clutch, everything's great. The only thing that he can do is increase the RPM and be more aggressive with the release of the clutch. Literally, the bike has to pop off of the ground. And the truth is, you're very smooth with the release of your clutch, and I would say you need to get the RPMs up just a little bit more. And that's why we're not getting kind of the holding the traction over the top. You're kind of going and then rocking over the top of it. It's a big log. That one was really close to the right amount of power. So the third one there, if you listen to the first one, here we go, first one. Second one, even less throttle. And then the third one, you can hear the third one has significantly more throttle, and it was the best one. You almost got over without hitting that linkage. More power, more aggression with the release of the clutch. The quicker you can go to that outside of the friction zone, the quicker you release that clutch, the more the power is going to be put to the rear tire. Your timing looks great with the body position. I love every bit of your approach here. More aggression with throttle and clutch. Really, really good, man. Great job. Let's move on. We've got an entry from Jacob Rissman. This is a clutch up on a beta. Let's go. Nice. Listen to the bike. Great timing. Oh, really good timing. Listen to where his... Nice. Weight forward, throttle on, weight back, throttle off. That's the key piece. One thing that we can add here, I think the clutch, the throttle, the timing, the sound, they're all consistent. They sound great. The key thing that you're missing here is body position. Notice when you're doing these clutch ups, you're pulling with your arms. You're almost trying to pull the bars to your chest, and we want to try to avoid that. The input of weight into the machine should be done with your hips, your knees, the lower half of your body. You're trying to use muscle to lift that. And this is honestly a very hard habit to break. This is one of the habits that I see all the time in the clinics. Riders tend to want to pull the front of the bike. And what's stronger, your legs or your arms, right? So learning the proper movement here is going to be key. Now, I've mentioned this quite a few times. A lot of riders have a tendency to move up and down rather than back and forth. And I'm watching here, this is a very up and down movement. You're dropping down to get suspension compression. You're popping up to get the front tire into the air. We want to be driving forward to get suspension compression, snapping back with our knees and hips to get the front tire into the air. Something I say in a lot of the classes is I'm really rough on the side panels, the number plates of the bike, because I'm literally snapping my knees back, bringing my calves back into that fat part of the bike to assist the front tire into the air. So learning that ability to move back and forth rather than up and down will assist you. Something I'll actually do is hold the bike and teach riders how to almost rotate. They bring their knees forward and then they snap their knees back, and the hips should come up into the air. I mean, literally like you're popping your butt into the air. That's what we're looking for. We want to reduce that upper body. You're doing a lot of pulling with the arms. That being said, you've got the hard part out of the way. The throttle and the clutch, the timing is the hard part. I love hearing the throttle on when you're getting that suspension compression, throttle off when you get your front tire into the air. You're using the on-off out in technique that I've spoke about 1,000 times. It's so key. You're doing it. Awesome. The body position is the next piece. Very, very nice job, man. I love seeing it. That's some good practice. Good job, Jacob. Keep at it, brother. Moving on, we've got Ben Rains on a KTM. This is a little log double here. Yeah, let's watch this one. Oh boy. One more time. Yeah, so you can hear. Listen to this is very close to a panic rev, and there's a reason why that panic rev is happening. Listen. Now, if that log double was any bigger, a foot bigger, we'd be over the bars. And we have a really good clip here of someone doing exactly that. A couple things. First, those logs, those are telephone poles. Personally, I do not lift my front tire into a telephone pole when I'm hitting a log double like this. I hit it like a jump. I drive my front. I'm doing no preloading. I'm just running my front tire into that log. Your suspension can handle it. That is the best approach. The reason it's the best approach is because that log is so small. If you're trying to lift and then place your front tire, you run a very high risk of missing your front tire. And if you notice here, you lift your front tire and it barely touches that first log. Now, because it barely touches the first log, that doesn't give your machine any hindrance in motion. I've said this 1,000 times. You and your machine are two separate objects in motion. When the front tire of your machine runs into an obstacle, that hinders your machine's motion, but you remain in motion forward. So, because you missed your front tire, there's no hindrance of motion, and you don't have that ability to move forward. Now notice where you are when your rear tire hits. You are in the center of the bike. In fact, you're behind the bars. As soon as the rear tire hits, there is always suspension compression and rebound. No matter where you are on the bike, the rebound will happen. If you're back on the bike or centered where you are on the bike, you only have so much room to move back. So notice, you hit, it rebounds, you go back to maximum. You can see your hips are back, good position, and it stands you up on the bike. Now, it looks fine. I think your suspension's set pretty dang good. I will say that. You move your hips correctly. You're in good position. We don't have a kind of absorption that we've seen riders do where their knees come up. They're moving up and down rather than back and forth. You're in good position there. But drive your front tire into the obstacle. Hit it like a jump. Don't lift into logs like that. If you lift into them, you run the risk of missing your front, and that kick can happen. And like I said, I think your suspension's set really good. You have a good hips back position, which is great. I would say hit it like a double. Hit it like a jump. Drive that front tire into the obstacle. That will allow you to get further forward, so then you can counter back. And like I said, if that double was any bigger, we'd be going over the bars. So great entry, man. Really good. Like I said, I mean, looks like you have pretty dang good body position just watching that 2-second clip. Finding the right approach for those obstacles is the key piece. So thank you so much for sending that one in. Now we got Nate Strine. This is a log. Nice big log too. Here we go. 4-stroke. Oh, slow-mo. Here we go. Front tire into the air. Okay, not a lot of suspension compression, but we still got up it. Notice we're spinning that rear tire on top. Good, nice correction there. Okay, I mean, honestly, that's a pretty dang good double blip. Now, I can't hear it because it is in slow-mo. It looks like you lifted at a pretty dang good time. I say the front tire lift's solid. Notice where you hit. You hit the front tire at about 3/4, but the suspension doesn't really compress. And looking at that log, I would hit it just a little bit lower, almost at the halfway point. That would give you more suspension compression. And just like I said in the previous, hindrance in motion, allowing you to get further forward. Now, you did get forward. Nice big load of power. And the rear tire drives in. This is a big log, and I would say that the more you drive the front tire into the obstacle, the more suspension compression and rebound you're going to get, and the more the rear tire is actually going to almost propel off of the ground and make it so it doesn't drive into the obstacle like it does here, rebound off of the obstacle, make the rear tire spin as it goes up and over. And then you used great clutch control to get up and over. So I would say a harder hit with your front tire into the obstacle and a even more aggressive load and snap of clutch on the second blip to give you that sort of pop. That pop is gonna make it so the rear tire doesn't drive into the bottom of the log and then rebound off of the log. It'll almost float up to the halfway point and hold better traction over the top. It's more of a jap zap technique rather than the regular double blip. The double blip, the rear tire drives into the obstacle and rolls over. The jap zap, it floats off the ground and hits the obstacle, right? So that makes it so it won't rebound. It kind of floats up to the top, and that's what the goal is. We spoke about that actually in the first viewer submission video that we did, so you should check that one out. That's what we're talking about here. Really good though. It looks like you have great clutch control. Looks like your clutch up is pretty dang dialed. Like I said, more aggression with that drive in. You straighten out really good. I mean, you're on your arches. I'm not a big, like, you need to be on the balls of your feet. You need to be on your arches kind of guy. I personally ride on the balls of my feet, but that being said, I see trials riders ride on their arches all the time. I don't think one way is necessarily right or wrong. I think that there's certain situations where balls of your feet is better, and there's certain situations where arches is better. A lot of guys try to be black and white. It's like, oh, this is right, this is wrong. I'm kind of like, they're both right in certain situations. Personally, I like to be on the balls of my feet in the majority of situations because I can drop my heels. It also allows me to straighten my knees a little bit more, where your knees are a little bit bent, but honestly, you straightened out pretty dang good. I would just be looking for that pop, a little more aggression with the release of the clutch. Very, very nice entry, Nate. I appreciate it. One more to go. This is ZHXY Baller. Must be an Instagram entry, or that's his name. Who knows, man? On a 1290 double blip. Here we go. Ooh, dude, honestly, that was pretty dang good for a 1290. One more time. I mean, that's a big bike, and you know, I did a little bit of big bike riding. You know, I'm not like, I don't have adventure bikes or anything like that. I've messed around on them a little bit. The thing about a big bike like a 1290 or an 1190 or a 1090, they're so dang heavy that you almost can't use that on-off out-in technique that I spoke about. Now, you can in a sense. You're still turning the throttle on with the clutch in to create the load of power, but you're almost more simultaneous with the release and reduction of throttle and clutch to find maximum traction. Now, a lot of it comes down to what kind of rear tire you're running on those bikes. I can't quite tell in this video. It looks like you got a knobby on and you're getting good lift. In this situation, I mean, you need to hit your front tire harder on that log. That being said, you definitely don't want to undercook on a big bike like that because it will stop 100%. You can see the log was even like, ow. I mean, look at how, like I said, that hurt the log more than it hurt the bike. Great lift. I love the knees forward, knees back. Something I would practice is placement of front tire. This has been a common theme in the last 3 videos. The placement of the front tire hinders the machine and allows you to get forward. If you don't get that placement, usually you're back, and then the rear tire hits and it kind of stands you back up or kicks you over the bars. So that placement is such a key piece to your approach. On a big bike, I would say learning how to use the minimum amount of throttle to get the front tire into the air is going to help you. That way, you keep the bike down into the bottom of the power, you're finding better traction to get that lift, and it makes it that much easier to find traction when you're on the obstacle. Honestly, man, really good lift. We're seeing a lot of these like big bikes coming into the hard enduro side with Pultaras. I did that a couple big bike things. I did a 720 video way back in the day before I even rode for IRC, and I did a 1090 or an 1190 video back in the day, doing a little bit of technical riding on those. I did it before it was cool. And they're a whole thing, man. They're big, and it takes a lot of practice. They're just a different kind of bike. It's really interesting. It's the throttle and clutch aren't as aggressive. It's a very smooth delivery of power, so you have to learn how to be really precise with the throttle. This guy's got it dialed in. Honestly, his clutch up looks great. It's just the placement of the front, and I get it. It's scary to place the front lower on a big bike like that because it'll stop 100%. Great video, man. Thank you. That's a killer entry. I appreciate everyone, man. This is so much fun. I love these entries. I love seeing people progress, working on the techniques that we talk about over and over on this channel. I appreciate the support so much. I love this stuff, man. This whole community that we've created is something that it's something I never would have thought we would have been able to accomplish, and we really have. This is a lot of fun. Thank you guys for the support. I love doing these viewer submissions. I'll probably keep them going even after I'm 100% riding, making videos. So yeah, keep sending them in. We'll do another one. But thank you guys so much for the support of the channel. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on Instagram at IRC Moto, my personal Instagram page at RichLarsen511. Hope to see you on our 2026 tour. I'll have those dates coming out soon, and until next time.